Surah Al-Kafiroon, Chapter 109, Disbelief, number of verses 6. Contents of the Surah, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. This Surah was revealed in Mecca. Both the content and the occasion of revelation of the Surah clearly confirm this idea. The statements of the Surah show that at the time of its revelation, Muslims were in a minority and disbelievers were in the majority, of whom the Holy Prophet was under great pressure. They urged him to collude with them, but he refused all of them and without having any conflict with them, made them completely hopeless. This is a good example for all Muslims that under no conditions should they collude with the enemies of Islam against the basis of the religion, and if it happens that disbelievers ask them to follow such suggestions, they should make them totally hopeless. The phrase, "I worship not what you worship," is, in particular, repeated twice in this surah for emphasis. This emphasis is made in order to disappoint the enemies. Again, the verse, "Nor do you worship whom I worship," is also another emphasis showing their stubbornness, which ends with the conclusion, "To you be your religion, and to me my religion." The virtue of studying Surah Al-Kafiroon. There are many narrations on the excellence of reciting this surah which illustrate the extreme importance of its content. For example, it is narrated in a tradition from the Holy Prophet that he said, "The person who recites the surah say, 'O you disbelievers,' it is as if he has recited a quarter of the Quran, and the insolent Satans will recoil from him, and he will be free from polytheism, and he will be saved from the great terror on doomsday." 1. Salvation on the Day of Judgment will be attained only through monotheism and the negation of polytheism. It is the theme on which this surah is based. A tradition from the Holy Prophet says that he asked Jabir ibn Matam whether he wished to have the best companions and the most amount of provisions with him when he was on a journey, and he said he did. Then the Prophet said, "Recite these 5 surahs, Kafiroon, Nasr, Ikhlas, Falak and Nas, and begin your recitation with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim." In another tradition, Imam Sadiq said, "My father has said that Surah Kafiroon is 1/4 of the Quran, and when he recited it, he used to say, 'I worship only Allah, I worship only Allah.'" Occasion of the revelation. Islamic narrations denote that this surah was revealed about some of the pagan chiefs of the Quraysh tribe, such as Walid ibn Mukaira, As ibn Wa'il, Harith ibn Qais, Umayyah ibn Khalaf, and so on. They said, "O Muhammad, follow our belief, and we will follow yours, and we will let you enjoy all our privileges. For 1 year you should worship our gods, and the next year we will worship your God. If your belief is better, we have enjoyed it with you, and if our belief is better, you have enjoyed it with us." The Prophet said, "I take refuge to Allah that I make no match of anything with him." They said, "You may touch some of our gods at least, and take a good omen from them. If you do this, we will confirm you and worship your God." The Prophet said, "I am waiting for the command of my Lord." At that moment, this surah was revealed. Then, the Messenger of Allah went to the sacred mosque. A number of the chiefs of the Quraysh were gathered there. He stood on a place above them and recited this surah, holy to them. When they heard the message of the surah, they became completely hopeless of their aim and began hurting him and his followers. He never agrees with the idol worshippers. The verses of this surah address the Holy Prophet and the command is, "Say, O you disbelievers, I worship not what you worship, nor do you worship whom I worship." Thus, he clearly defines his way, which is totally different from their way. He frankly states that he never worships idols, and that they, with their stubbornness and the blind following of their ancestors and their persisting in it, never agree with worshiping Allah, which is free from polytheism, nor do they leave their unlawful great amounts of income gained from other idol worshippers. Again, in order to disappoint the idol worshippers' aim completely of him, leaving monotheism and accepting idolatry, it says, "Neither shall I worship what you worship, nor will you worship whom I worship." Therefore, he is stating that they not urge him uselessly upon accepting idolatry. It is impossible. "To you be your religion, and to me my religion." Many of the commentators have clearly said that the objective of using the term Kafiroon here is for a particular group of chiefs among the idol worshippers of Mecca. Perhaps Their reason for saying this, in addition to the matter mentioned for the occasion of revelation, is that finally many of the idol worshippers of Mecca believed in Islam. So when he says, "Nor do you worship whom I worship, neither shall I worship what you worship," it is certainly about those chiefs among the idol worshippers who never believed the truth even to the end of their lives. While many pagans had entered Allah's religion in crowds at the time Mecca was captured. Regarding the content of the surah, the answer to the question is clear, because the pagans had invited the Holy Prophet to collude with them regarding idols, so it means he should repel this from himself and say that he would never agree with them in idolatry. Say was in the message that Gabriel brought from Allah. The Holy Prophet had to retell exactly what was stated in order to preserve the authenticity of the Holy Quran. This would illustrate that Gabriel and the Holy Prophet did not make the least variation in the divine revelation, and have actually proved that they have been obedient missionaries to the command of Allah. As Surah Yunus, number 10, verse 15 says, "Say, it is not for me, of my own accord, to change it. I follow naught but what is revealed unto me." 2. Did the idol worshippers deny Allah? We know that idol worshippers never denied Allah, and according to the clear verses of Quran, if they were asked about the Creator of the heavens and the earth, they said that it is Allah. If thou ask them who it is that created the heavens and the earth, they will certainly say Allah. For then, how is it that it says in this surah, "Neither shall I worship what you worship, nor will you worship whom I worship"? Regarding the proposition which is not on the creation, but the subject matter is upon worshipping, it makes the answer to this question clear too. Idol worshippers knew Allah as the creator of the world, but they believed that they should worship the idols so that the idols would become intercessors in the court of Allah, or that they themselves are not worthy enough to worship Allah, but that they should worship the man-made idols. This is the point that the Quran rejects firmly, and refusing their false imaginings, it says worship must be performed only to Allah, not to idols alone, nor to both of them. A tradition denotes that Abu Shakir Dasani, a disbeliever, asked Abu Ja'far Ahwal, one of the followers of Imam Sadiq, why the same proposition is repeated in this surah, the act of which is opposed to the excellence of eloquence. Abu Ja'far, who knew no answer for the question, went to the sixth holy Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad as-Sadiq in Medina and asked him for the answer. The holy Imam said that the cause for the revelation of these verses and its repetition in the surah was just in reply to the repetition in the proposal by the disbelievers who told the Holy Prophet that he should worship for 1 year what they worshipped, and the next year they would worship what he worshipped. These verses were revealed and refused all their proposals. 5.